Good afternoon. I'm Lisa Broom with the CBC News Break. Pensioners are being assured that there should be no more hold-ups with their pension checks from the National Insurance Scheme. So says Labour Minister Senator Dr. Esther Bayer, who has responsibility for the NIS. She says they've been able to clear the backlog that created problems last year. According to Dr. Bayer, the only issue at this time is getting payments to new pensioners now on their books.
The assurance is still that the National Insurance is working on ironing out all the kinks. We've had a lot of challenges, as the whole of Barbados knows. We've had a lot of challenges, most of them related to the IT, some related to staffing, and some administrative arrangements in there. All of those have been identified. We have put solutions in place. We will review to see if those solutions are working, but we continue to monitor the problem and the national insurance system. We continue to monitor, and we are committed to doing all that it takes to get it right.
Commerce Minister Donville Innes says Barbados will be going after companies in Canada, the US and Latin America as it continues to grow its international insurance industry and international business sector. He made the comments in the lower house while piloting the second reading of the Companies Amendment Bill 2016. He says Barbados' reputation in the sector is clear, noting that it's one to celebrate. The Commerce Minister adds that only about 10% of those employed in the industry are now non-nationals.
We will continue to work in the Canadian and the US market to roll out the incorporated cell company structure as a new product here. But there are already significant interests being expressed out of the Latin American market for the incorporated cell company structure. And as soon as we are able to get this matter out of the parliamentary process and to be have it become law and gazetted, there will be entities to be established in Barbados almost immediately.
Mr. Innes is predicting that the sector is poised for further growth this year and will be raking in millions of dollars more for the economy. In this regard, he's hoping to mount a mission to Mexico shortly to sell the international insurance products.
I am certainly seeing from my end in the international business sector an increase in the number of entities originated out of Venezuela doing business here in Barbados and going global. And the Latin American market is one that we cannot ignore. It is right next door to us. There's a level of flexibility and nimbleness here in Barbados that is of interest to them. They certainly want to have a level of not just secrecy but more protection that our structures in Barbados offer. I think, Mr. Speaker, though, that there are a couple of opportunities that must be pursued if we start to do some things differently in Barbados.
The opposition Barbados Labour Party supported the amendment to the Companies Act. In his contribution, opposition member for St. James North, Edmund Hinkson, says issues that threaten the development of Barbados' international business sector must be swiftly addressed.
There was a time when the international business sector of this country employed many more people than the 4,000 that I believe the Honourable Minister said are employed in the industry today. And the fact of the matter is that the salaries and income gained by Barbadian citizens in this industry are higher than in other sectors of the economy. Generally speaking, reasonably high wages, salaries are earned by professional people and by the support staff in this sector.
Trade between Barbados and its neighbour St. Lucia has been further strengthened. The Barbados Investment and Development Corporation, which is part of a recent mission to Castries, has signed a memorandum of understanding with St. Lucia's Trade Export Promotion Agency. The two countries are already close trading partners, with Barbados importing beer and bananas from St. Lucia. Manager of the service unit at the BIDC, Paul Waite, says the MOU will promote cooperation between the two agencies.
The Memorandum of Understanding sets the framework, but it's not the action. We expect the action to follow. And we intend very shortly to agree amongst ourselves on a plan of action to really go after some engaging projects. I think looming initially is the access to common business facilitation assistance, international funding. I think many of the agencies are complaining, Caribbean governments, have not been accessing the funding that's available for us in the EPA and other provisions, and we really hope to go after that collectively.
Mr. Waite says St. Lucia is an important market for Barbados.
As you may know, St. Lucia ranks among the top 3 in export markets for Barbados, led only by the United States, for which we export mostly rum, and Trinidad, for we export mostly unrefined crude oil. So in terms of products, St. Lucia is probably the most important market for us. So we are grateful for that, and we hope to build on the collaboration, and we hope to look forward to synergistic work both in our markets as well as to really maximize what we can in terms of collaborating with St. Lucia in the provision of our products.
Meantime, Chief Executive Officer of St. Lucia's Trade Export Promotion Agency, Jacqueline Emmanuel Flood, welcomed the MOU, saying the two agencies have similar roles.
We hope that as we action this MOU, we will be there for each other, we'll be able to share expertise, we'll be able to facilitate each other in our market, and the list goes on. There are many, many things that we can learn. We are looking forward to making this MOU not just an agreement in paper, but a plan of action. So it is a pleasure for us to be there. I want to thank the BIDC for initiating this. They must give them credit. It came from the BIDC, but we gladly accepted the opportunity.
And Industry Minister Donville Innes, who led the trade delegation, says the country recognizes the need to build the exports and services sector.
We've certainly tasked ourselves at home by seeking to further diversify our economy and creating more opportunities by taking more of our goods and services out into the wider world. Naturally, people tend to look towards North America and Europe when we speak of the exports of goods and services. But the reality about it is that the CARICOM market is the main market for Barbadian goods and services. And I believe that this is the market we ought to know best. We oftentimes talk about going into diaspora in New York City and London and wherever, but the harsh reality is that we have our brothers and sisters right here in the region who we really need to work closely with.
In other news now, the Barbados Road Safety Association is again calling for legislation making it mandatory for drivers to always have their licenses in their possession. President Charmaine Roland Bowen wants partisan politics to be set aside so legislation can be passed on this matter. The association is also commending the Royal Barbados Police Force for their spot checks, which are becoming more frequent around the island. Time for a break now, but when we come back, regional and international news. Stay with us.